What's up guys, Jo here and back again for another video. Happy Monday, first day of the week. Let's kick it off with some awesome debate about this versus kind of console debate. I've said the word debate twice. I need my coffee, that's what I need. So we're going to be looking at this console, and this console right here in terms of spec. Because we know that now that Nintendo have released some of the Switch's spec. I don't know if there's more to come, I don't know. We'll see after testing how things really do fare, how things really do perform. But obviously the PS4, the Xbox One have been at ages, and long have there been debates around the discussion between those two consoles. In fact, I think that's been a versus that's been probably exhausted to death. But nonetheless, we're going to take a look at a source in a minute on trusted reviews, and I think this article really does simplify the specs, not just with the machine itself but also with the controllers, so your Xbox controller, PS4 controller and the JoyCons on the Switch. So I'm super psyched to dive into this with you guys. Actually, I've had a quick look myself, scanned it, and there's some awesome tables that really do summarise these three machines together. Then we're going to come back, draw some conclusions. Now, tell me this guys, before we go any further, how important is the Switch's spec to you? Is it like a deal breaker, you know? Does it have to be 1080p 60 FPS, you know? I have my reservations. I'm going to save my thoughts until the end. I want to kind of conclude, but without further ado guys, let's go take a look at this article. I'll link it in the description, then we'll talk at the end. Let's go. So here we go then guys, this is the article from Trusted Reviews, fresh off the press. It is a brand new and I really like it because it's not just top heavy with text, it also summarises things really nicely in this comparison tables which you're about to see. Again, I will link it in the description. So as we said back in the intro, starting off with the controllers, you guys can see some really interesting facts between these three machines. Again, this is the original Xbox, not the Xbox One S, and the PS4. So you can see straight away that the Joy-Con has 18 buttons as well as the Switch Pro, compared to the Xbox One and PS4 with only 17. Not so fussed about the PS4 Move pair for the sake of this, but by all means guys, please let me know your thoughts in the description box below. So another thing that really caught my eye with this table was the kind of battery life. You can see that the Joy-Cons put out 20 hours of gameplay compared with 40 hours with the Pro controller, and take note that it does say official, so that doesn't include any third-party stuff. It absolutely destroys the Xbox One and PS4, and I think for me that was a shock, because when I've been taking into account the spec of the Switch, I've failed to think about the comparisons between the controllers. So again, this is why I'm really pulling from this review. We've got you can't remove the batteries. I think that you guys can see there, the Xbox One is the only controller that has removable batteries, and I've always found that to be a complete flaw. It is a real pain that you know, I know you can buy chargeable battery packs, but it would have been great off the bat to have the battery built in. Now the headphone jacks, note with the Joy-Cons and the Switch Pro controller, there are no headphone jacks. So if you have a wired wired headset, you won't be able to use them with the Joy-Cons, and you won't be able to use them with the Pro controller. But obviously we know that that is a built-in feature with the PlayStation 4 controller and the Xbox One controller. So speaking of those Joy-Cons, you guys can see here that we've got a capture button, which I think is quite perfectly placed, if I'm brutally honest with you. We'll see again how that pans out in testing, and you've got your home button there. I really like the symmetry of these controllers, really nice. And let me know if you've ordered the grey bundle or if you've got the colour, the blue and the red Joy-Cons. I've ordered the red and the blue, really looking forward to it. Fingers crossed I will get my pre-order. I'm still a little bit apprehensive, but nonetheless, that is for another video. So here is all the technical information for you guys out there. I'm not as fussed about this stuff. I don't think for me that the fact that the Switch is significantly underpowered in comparison with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 is going to have a massive impact on my desire to play the Switch or my excitement to play the Switch. But you guys can see that the clock speed does come in significantly lower compared to the PS4 and Xbox One. So next up then, this really drew my attention. HDR, there'll be no high dynamic range, or we don't think there'll be a high dynamic range with a Switch, but yes, you get that on the Xbox One S, not the original. And now we had the update with the PlayStation 4 to include HDR visuals, which actually do look really, really nice. Now, just looking at this, what I want to know from you guys is really what catches your eye. Again, for me, I talk about the audio ports in a minute. There's no optical port either, which again is something that really, really affected me because I really do like that on my PlayStation 4, and it's just a damn shame that they didn't include it on the Switch. I don't know why, but nonetheless, that's something that really knocked me. And you guys can see that I'm highlighting storage. Again, that is something that has been a significant complaint within the community, that the storage isn't just, it's just not, the hard drive isn't just not big enough. Yes, you can expand, but I don't really want to have to expand it. I just kind of figured that it would be something significant as a base unit to be built in, but really 32 gig is nothing compared to the mammoth 500 gig that you get in the base units of the Xbox One and the PS4. So networking ports was another thing that caught my eye in this comparison. If you want to use an Ethernet cable, you won't be able to do that on the Switch. Obviously with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 you can. So if you're gonna stream, if you have a Nintendo partnership and you're gonna be streaming, some people prefer to stream over Ethernet because it can be a hell of a lot more stable than Wi-Fi. It looks like you won't be able to do that with the Switch. So that's what kind of jumps out with me. Let's jump back to the games room and draw some final conclusions. So there we go. Like I said, I'm disappointed there's no optical port on the Switch. That really got me. I really like that feature on the PS4. Yeah, you know, for my Bluetooth headset. And I was annoyed when the Slim kind of came out and that didn't have an optical port, because I think that's a key feature. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to pan out. Yes, we've known all along that the Switch is underpowered. It is underpowered compared to the PS4 and the Xbox One S. But my thoughts are this: I don't think Nintendo ever wanted to create something, and I've said this before, that really did compete with the PS4 and Xbox One. I don't think they wanted that. I think for me, Nintendo have always been a little bit more about kind of enjoying the games, and not having this kind of like 4K ultra stunning powerful resolution, because, you know, like with Breath of the Wild, it's coming out on the Wii U as well. We know that there's going to be massive graphical and performance differences between the Wii U and the Switch. You know, a lot of people say, well, I don't mind, I'm just going to play the Wii U version. Kudos to you, that's great, because it means you can just kind of dive into the game without wanting the absolute crystal polish, perhaps, of, you know, what the Switch is going to put out compared to the Wii U. So we know it isn't going to be as powerful. We know, I mean, it's a tiny machine. Just the absolute size of it, you know, it's tiny compared to the PS4 and the Xbox One. So I think for me that is a visual representation that it is going to be less powerful. You can't pack as much hardware into that as what you can on Xbox One. But it was never meant to be that. It was never meant to be that for me. Nintendo's a bit more about the kind of experience, whereas PlayStation 4, I think for me, is a bit more serious. You know, Nintendo is my childhood. You know, as much as I grew up with the PS1, I was kind of like I wasn't nowhere near as young as what I was when I started playing the Super Nintendo. So my roots for nostalgia are probably more with Nintendo over Sony, and I'm a Sony fangirl all the way. I love it, the Xbox One, but the PS4 is where it's at for me. So I'm looking forward to it. We're less than a month now. I've pre-ordered. If you've pre-ordered, let me know. If you've struggled to pre-order, let me know. It has had the Switch has had more pre-orders than what the PS4 did before launch, and that is credible. That to me is looking pretty darn good. Let's just hope things go to plan. Let's hope that some titles do come out on time, such as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is due to drop in April, so fingers crossed that won't be delayed. Mario Odyssey's out in December, or holiday period, so again, fingers crossed we won't have any delays with that. And I think if that's the case, the Switch will have a pretty decent start. Whether or not it will kind of reach or climb to the sales is as what the PS4 did in that first month. I don't know, we'll see. If the pre-orders are anything to go by, then it's looking pretty darn good. But we'll see, we'll see. So guys, smash your thoughts below. Are you very techie? Are you disappointed with the Switch's specs? It'd be great to hear from you guys. But now, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll be back on Thursday with a video. My name's Gemma, take care. And by the way, if you want to see more cool content, hit that subscribe button. Guys, see you soon.